Here we go, people. The game
One of
everyone's
the
been
stars
waiting
in
on.
Ubisoft's impressive E3 2015 lineup is Tom Clancy's The Division. And joining me now on stage, Ryan Bernard
Yay!
from Ubisoft. And we are going to talk about The Division because you guys had a pretty memorable demo up there.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's kind of what we were shooting for.
I've
So,
not seen that yet. I started watching it today.
You know, it's
I've
each year we want
okay,
to try
I've
to
stayed
bring
away
more
for
of the
this.
gameplay, more kind of pull the wrapper back a little bit further. And the previous, the first year
There's
was about kind
like
of,
dark zones, which
making
are
a splash with the game. And
places
then
that
last year was
it's
about
got a
building the
complete
world,
blackout.
what's happening with
Aye,
the
when
story,
you
they
go in
said
there,
that in the last video.
Dark
They
Zone
put,
and how
It's
player
like a
versus player
multiplayer
works in the game.
zone, and your
player
HUD and all
versus
that
player
fucking
is sort of,
disappears.
a lot of games have player versus player and player versus environment as entirely separate things.
Yeah.
But that's not really the case in The Division. You guys have sort of mixed it all around together.
Yeah, I think the genre for the game, like a lot of games, are going open world. They want, player choice is a big thing. That's what I think
Here we
the
go.
gaming community wants. So to be able to create something unique, we wanted to have a gameplay space where it's not a battleground, it's not a multiplayer map. It's a space
Just
that's
looks
right in the
beautiful,
core of the gameplay loop and the core experience where player versus player can happen.
Now,
And atmospheric
you guys
as
talked
fuck
about the
as well.
Dark
Aye.
Zone for the first time
Yes.
this year, and you also sort of in the intro trailer gave these hints at the story, why these people are the people who are super good with guns and prepared for this kind of situation. We always knew this might happen, and then we were activated kind of thing. Are you only doing the vague hints at this point, or can you give us a little more on the sort of campaign setting and who these people are that you're playing as?
Sure, no, we've
Well,
talked
tell 'em.
about the background.
Make 'em play the game.
The whole premise for The Division was we wanted a new Clancy unit that was going to be an RPG game that fit within Ubisoft's very strong
Stop walking
suite
so slow.
of
Come on,
Clancy
just
games.
fucking get in a bit.
So from that kind of birthed this thing of, well, to be different, the disaster kind of needs to have happened. So in our scenario of our game, the virus is released, the society is kind of crumbling already, and this is a Clancy unit that's different. It's based in home, and it's based as a response unit. So that's how that came
So it's
about.
just like
And
basically
so
you have
as
to
a
rely on your
response unit,
instincts.
it seems, sort of the goal we're seeing here.
No, it's just all
Going into
rebooted.
into the Dark Zone is obviously a big risk, so there's got to
That
be
must
some
be your
kind
kindly
of
loading
reward
screen
there.
type thing.
And we talk, sort of
Pick up where
mentioned
the
like
rest
they
of the
have
players
Dark
are on
Zone
that.
loot or something like that. But can you give us a little more concrete information
I like how
about
they've
what
all went to
what
fucking
kind of
like,
resources
because
they're
obviously
able to
anything
pull
could
out
happen
from a
at any
risky
time.
mission
They've
like
all
this?
went to like
Absolutely.
fucking
It's,
proper.
I mean, the
Aye,
lore
like
behind
a
the Dark
ready
Zone
mode.
is this is ground zero for the infection. So when military originally quarantined a smaller area and tried to stop the spread of the virus, that was obviously ineffective, so they had to pull back, and they left all the best gear, equipment, supplies in the Dark Zone. So besides missions and scavenging for resources, for materials for crafting, the best loot, the best quality equipment in the game is inside the Dark Zone.
And when you talk about loot,
Kind of a
you're,
bunched up.
you got to be talking about the player's
Exactly.
loadout. And so
Yes.
we've got
Someone
obviously
should have
guns,
fucking
grenades.
with the biggest
That's a
gun.
healing.
Are there any sort
There's a
of
healing grenade he just
gear
threw.
outfits? Like, what's the extent of the loadout you're going to be able to customize?
I'm sorry, that
So
could have been
each agent
executed
has a
better.
number of slots, and so each slot can be upgraded with a new go bag, larger inventory, better
That's
thighs,
good.
legs,
Completely
boot
destroy
slots,
any
gloves,
cover you have.
and this can have statistics like attached to them, so it can help increase your damage with weapons, increase your health pool, RPG
fuck?
type statistics. So
They
that's why
do
you
seem to
want this
take
loot
quite a
in the
bit of
Dark Zone.
damage to get
And
going
now,
down.
what a sort of, that RPG type, like progression, exploration. One of the sort of key things about that is pushing into areas and encountering enemies that are too tough for you. That are, it's not just about going through and killing everything you see. It's about making decisions
Oh,
about
what's
when
he gonna
to
find in
engage.
that?
And we saw that in the
Yeah.
demo
LNG,
here.
man.
The players were trying to avoid
Contaminated.
certain areas
Yeah.
because of these high-level
Dark
enemies.
Zone push.
What's your sort of approach to like how you pace out that zone and like where you want to really push back hard on players to force them to make a decision like that?
Well, I think it's there isn't really any walls of like we don't want to block anyone from exploring, but so I would look at it more of like a kind of a blend from as the level progresses up through the Dark Zone, and it becomes very apparent since when you pulse or kind of aim on an enemy, you can see the level of the challenge. And as soon as you get to a certain level above your agent, you kind of become very ineffective. So the game pretty much
Cunt's
tells
got a
you that
flamethrower,
you need
fucking
to
hell.
either get up your levels through doing missions or killing NPCs of your level or enemies, so that you
was
can
terrible.
take them on.
Aye,
And
that
this,
is really
we're
terrible.
actually coming up against what's called an elite enemy. So it's pretty common for people to play a lot of games, but they're armored, they have higher hit points, they have higher damage output. So it really encourages players to play together to take out elites.
Play together, you multiply the
You can
power,
team
you
up
can
with
really
other
bring to
people or
bear.
kill
Yeah.
them. Just fucking
Now,
betray them.
sort of, we're seeing more than ever here.
That's
You
a
guys
grenade
sort of
at your feet,
evolving
mate.
this,
Aye.
moving between cover
On
system,
fire.
this catching on fire
Catching on
system.
fire, exactly. He's gotta get it. Use a med pack real quick. So yeah,
Drop and
so
roll.
the division is definitely
There's
a
snow there, man. Just
cover-based,
douse yourself in it.
gameplay, and it has a shooting mechanic. So you know, utilizing cover, moving between covers, flanking enemies
Who's
is
that
really
fucking
important
guy?
to be successful.
These other players.
Now, voice chat
Ah.
obviously
Aye.
sort of really played a big role in the demo you showed during the press conference. And
Yes.
obviously, if you're playing on a team, it's going to be really important. But for players who don't necessarily voice chat, are you guys
Execute them
building
both.
any kind of contextual call-out system or any way to communicate, non-verbal way to communicate?
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. The voice is it's a hot topic in the team.
Sure.
Right now we have a full emote system that's coming in, so you'll be able to kind of let your intentions be known when you're not grouped with someone. And then of course there is the VoIP in group. And right now there's no plans for any type of quick chat system.
Why?
Yeah, but if you've got the emotes, then
Fuck
you
them,
know
what's that stupid?
sort of
I know.
things will start to evolve as players start to understand like
Yeah.
points where you need to communicate, stuff like that.
Who fucked
Absolutely,
them up?
and
They-
really the biggest telltale
Some
is
after a
player
grenade or
action.
something.
Aye,
If someone
aye,
takes
good
cover,
players.
you know, 10 feet away from you, 15 feet away from you, or drops
The
up a
thing is,
turret,
why
it's
even
pretty
add
obvious
power?
that you
I mean,
should
fair
get
enough
That's a
to
pretty
add that in
aggressive
for
move,
make
yeah.
it easier
Yeah, so is there
to
one more quick thing
communicate
about
with
voice
people
chat? Is
who
there
is in your
sort of
squad or whatever,
area
who
chat,
obviously
so
you
you're
don't
not just
know.
talking with your
But
team, you're saying
let's
like,
face it, people who are
hey,
playing
you
this
over
game
there,
Yeah.
are
what's
going to
up?
be on
So
TeamSpeak.
right now there's no plans for
Aye.
area VoIP,
Okay.
but we have big betas coming out. I don't know if you've heard of those announcements. So we are very big on playing the game, looking at feedback. The betas are going to be extremely helpful, and it's something we could look at if we decide that that's a direction we need to go.
Sure, yeah, beta's very instructive and
Yes.
certainly could be helpful. Now, we're now in combat with another team of human
Oh.
players,
Yes,
is that
yes.
correct?
This one's
Well,
there.
These,
Nice.
we just actually took out some players that were rogue flagged. So when you go into the Dark Zone and you come up
Two
against
squads
another
against
player,
one squad, they
you're
didn't stand a
neutral.
chance.
So you're
Yeah.
you're neither hostile nor friendly.
Uh-huh.
If you aggress them and engage them, you become
there you
what
go.
we call flagged rogue. Your ring turns
Dirty
red, your watch
bastards.
turns red, and you actually get a bounty on your head. So other players can take you out for that
For that
experience reward. and-
bounty
Nice.
plus whatever loot you're
Just
carrying.
totally
that you're gonna
fucked them
drop.
over for
So
their
all the
loot.
loot inside is contaminated, and in order to basically equip it, to bind on equip it, you need to extract it. So that's what we see them doing here, and starting an extraction, which is 90 seconds of very intense kind of covering your ass
Yeah, and
gameplay.
it's firing up a flare, saying, and I imagine maybe there's a mini-map ping on
Yes.
some other teams so they could come sniffing around.
So the areas are known on the map. They're also known when they're
Can you just
active,
know
when
you've got to
someone's
get
trying
teams of
extract.
players
Okay.
camping
Probably that
extraction
means that you're
spots?
trying to get out something
Aye.
good. So we refer to them pretty much as watering holes because that's
Watering holes?
That's what
That's
they
the same
do.
guys.
That's
They
a
bring-
very vivid image, you
Yes.
know, on the Serengeti,
Yes.
what kind of activity it attracts.
Yes, so it gets pretty crazy at the extraction areas.
Now, I think that I loved when at the end of the demo you showed like that next level of betrayal.
Yes.
Your teammate
Wonder what
betraying.
happens when you
Yes.
die.
Because you're that adds an extra
Like,
layer of tension.
because obviously
But,
you progress,
like,
you can
what's
progress by
the-
collecting like
I don't know,
new
do you
guns
ever-
and
do you
stuff
worry
like
that
that.
that
So
might
do you, if you
put in
die,
the mindset of
do you
players
lose
like,
the guns you
oh,
had equipped?
I'm just gonna be a real dick every time and get out every time.
Well, it
Yeah,
seems
it's only
like
gonna be
if,
me or
if
no
you
one.
didn't get extracted,
It's a common question.
with the stuff
actually,
the
and
new stuff you
I
picked
mean,
up,
Aye,
you lose
potentially-
that.
you lose
again,
that, but like-
we want to start the Dark Zone with.
do you get to
as
keep stuff
few
you've already extracted and got on you,
designer-based
or
rules
does
as
you lose
possible.
that as well?
And players generally kind of develop
Don't think it'll be
a rule set amongst
complete.
themselves.
Yeah.
If we
Like,
see
you'll get
that,
basic
you know what,
weapons
this
and
Aye,
game
aye,
just
but that's what I'm
really
saying.
isn't
Obviously,
fun.
you'll
People
start
are,
the game with like
you know,
a basic
nothing
gun,
ever
and then
happens,
everything you
nobody
acquire
extracts, they're-
extra
it's too much,
is
it's too
extra.
chaotic.
But what I'm wondering is
We
if
can
those
make
extra guns that you
adjustments. So
collect,
this is where we're
if
starting,
you
is
die
the
while
big
having
guy,
that
you know,
gun equipped,
how
do
does
you lose it
PvP
for
work
good
in your
until you
game? Well,
forget
this
it back
is how
again?
PvP works in the
I think that'd be
division,
quite
Yeah.
cool, like a
and
sense
the great
of,
thing about
apart
being
from
online,
obviously just
about
having your
being
base guns,
iterative,
which
is
you
you
can
always make
you get no
adjustments.
matter
Yeah,
what.
there's ways to, you know, better
There's that fear
incentivize
of losing. Oh my
cooperation
god, I
and
found
stuff
this
like
amazing
that. And
fucking
I
LMG.
really
if I die,
appreciate
I'm
sort
gonna
of
lose it.
showcasing that
I like that
backstab
idea.
moment because
Yeah.
it like there's this like this delicious darkness to it, and I think that that's part of the appeal of the division.
Yes, my favorite comment that we saw was on Reddit. Someone that's been following the trailers from year to year, and we've had the same group of agents, you know, and it's why Ryan after 3 years, you know. And so if you follow the story, it's agents playing together, and then at the end, one of them just screws all of the other ones and takes all the loot. So
And then he gets right out of there.
It's pretty
oh,
funny.
Man. So that the dark zone is, you know, you guys, that's an area where PvP is possible. Is there also areas where you can sort of just do a PvE thing? Or?
Absolutely. So the dark zone is a multiplayer space.
Uh-huh.
So you'll definitely see other players maybe engage in PvP. The rest of New York in the open world is what we call phased. So if you and I are playing together, and I'm the group leader, we're in my copy of New York. And we won't see random players running by or messing with our mission or, you know, trying to engage us, which there's no PvP outside, so it's okay. But so it's a phased private space. And then once you move into the dark zone, that's a public space.
Very cool. The dark zone, aptly named, it seems.
Yes.
And we got a really good look at it this year at E3. Now,
The more I
can
see
we
this
talk
game,
about
the
the
more I
betas for
want
a
it
second?
now.
When are those coming down the pipe? Because I know certainly I am interested in checking out some kind of dark zone action.
Nice,
When
nice.
are we going to get to do that?
So we have a beta coming in December for those of you who have Xbox One. And then shortly after that into the new year, we're going to be on PS4 and PC.
Fuck you, Dick.
So no matter which platform you want to play the Division on, you're going to be able to check it out early.
So betas later this year and early next year,
Yes.
and then you guys aiming for maybe a late next year release?
March.
No, we're March 8th of next year. Is the
March
release date.
8th?
Yes.
Man,
It's 3 months of full beta, so we have time to look at the data, to react, to really make sure the game is ready. So
excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on here, Ryan,
bet,
talking
you
about
bet.
the Division. Definitely a game that continues to garner big interest at E3.
thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tom Clancy's The Division. Up next, we're
Can't
going to take a look
fucking
at
wait for that.
whatever the schedule says over there. I'm actually taking it off the stage. Lucy James is going to come on for our next slate of demos, and she's going to be seeing
I
a
hope
lot
it lives
of
up to the
excellent
hype,
stuff
like.
here at E3.
It better.
Please stay
It looks
tuned.
like
We've
it
got
does.
more
Like,
coming at you.
I mean, they've had a lot, like he says, they've had a long time work on it. Even and they'll have free solo months after beta to fix anything that the players establish.
Aye.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be amazing.
18,000 live events, 50,000 on
That's that
demand.
showcase done.